Thank you for tuning in, you're in for an educational treat. Robert Downey Jr. Avengers, member. Emerson, Lake, Palmer and Associates, lawyer. AmA. Your portrayal as Kirk Lazarus in Tropic Thunder was, in my opinion, one of the best comedic performances of all time, but it must have felt like a very risky role to take on. Did you have any fears about how the character would be perceived? What did you do to prepare yourself for the role? Fortunately, it's about an affably self-important white guy who thinks he understands the black experience. It was so wrong and outrageous that it was forgivable. But I certainly was happy to hear from my African American friends that they were okay with it, and some of them even delighted in telling me what relative it reminded them of. Somebody just told me just the other day that they're convinced that I was channeling Wesley Snipes. He's a pretty cool customer, so I don't want to presume I would be up to the task. How is it that your facial hair is always on point? Chuckle. Excellent question. It started with the first Iron Man, a guy named Pedro from Shave of Beverly Hills. I mean, this guy's an artist. He's like the Edward Scissorhands of mustaches and beards. And then, once you set a standard, it's all about upkeep and modulating it. It tends to be a lot of work, but I'm glad you appreciate it. When you signed on for Iron Man, did you ever imagine how incredibly popular the character would be? How do you feel about it all now? It was beyond my comprehension for the first 2 years. And now I see it as a logical, lucky, entertaining piece of history. I'm glad Jon Favreau stuck his head out for you in order to give us a bold and memorable Iron Man. Thank you. Would you be willing to elaborate on how going to prison made you lean conservative? In 2009, Downey conveyed his politically rightward drift to NY Times reporter David Carr. I have a really interesting political point of view, and it's not always something I say too loud at dinner tables here, but you can't go from a $2,000 a night suite at La Mirage to a penitentiary and really understand it and come out a liberal. You can't. I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone else, but it was very, very, very educational for me and has informed my proclivities and politics ever since. Also, the marketing for the judge is very strange. A couple of months ago, it looked like a serious drama and now more like a legal comedy. Thanks. I'll answer the second question first. Over the course of led up to releasing the judge, the audiences were telling us that yes, the evocative, dramatic aspects of the film were primarily what was holding their attention. However, as our test scores were going higher and higher, much of that was due to the giddy dispersion of moments of laughter and release, situations and characters who behaved in a funny manner. And so Team Downey and the studio decided it was natural to lean into that. At its core, you could call it a drama. It's a surprisingly humorous movie. In other words, it's not a bleak nihilistic downer. It's quite uplifting. Over the last 10 years, the world has changed, and I'm no exception. What I love about America is that your political views are not fixed by nature. It's natural that I would see the downside of liberalism while housed in an institution, as it's not an uncommon occurrence for people to take advantage of a system that caters to its psychological needs. To be pointed, humanity, myself included, is not above manipulating a democratic situation to suit its own selfish short-term goals. I hope that offers an explanation. What ongoing TV show would you be willing to guest star or do a cameo for? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Joss Whedon, make this happen. If you were to appear on Comedy Central's Drunk History, what historical person would you talk about? Excellent question. Probably our hemp-headed forefathers. I guess they'd be called founding fathers. I'm pretty sure Jefferson grew a bunch of weed. Hi Robert, thanks for visiting Reddit. I was wondering, will we ever see a Sherlock III? And what other fictional character would you love to play? Yes, we have a Sherlock III in development. We want it to be the best of the series, so that's a pretty tall order. Also, Perry Mason is a property I'm looking forward to developing further, going back to the 1931 book series, similarly to what we did with the first two Sherlocks, mining the original material for things that are new. Till from Robert Downey Jr. The TV series Perry Mason was based on books. I honestly had no idea after all these years. If you were a pizza, what kind of toppings would you have? I've been waiting for this question. Garlic. Extra cheese. Onions. Spinach. Pepperoni. A long while ago you were in southern Illinois/western Kentucky filming the movie U.S. Marshals. It was during a lovely weeknight that I found myself having dinner at the same Applebees restaurant as you. To the entertainment of my friends, I walked over to your table to say hello and casually chat things up with a movie star. It was brief, friendly, and nothing out of the ordinary. However, a while later I realized that I rudely interrupted your dinner, paid hardly any attention to your friend, who you politely introduced me to, and give little to no respect to your quiet evening or the tantalizing chicken salad in front of you. From time to time that random evening of crossing paths at Applebees pops in my head and I cringe at the thought of my crass, ill-mannered rudeness. I am incredibly sorry for interrupting your dinner. Do you think you could ever find it in your heart to forgive me? Meet me at Applebees. And we'll figure it all out. No harm, no foul. I have no recollection of any negative behaviors on your part. Give yourself a break. Thank you for making Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Very underrated. What's your favorite story about making that film? It was entirely shot at night. We were pretty giddy most of the time. I saw it last week by chance, and had a flood of fond memories. On the first day of shooting, Val Kilmer, genius, almost choked to death on a piece of catering chicken right before we shot the first scene of the movie. His eyes were still watering until we got to his close-up. I'm so happy he's still with us. Hey Robert, I was just wondering if you've watched BBC Sherlock, and also, what is your opinion on Benedict Cumberbatch? Thanks. Very impressed with Benedict. Such smart writing on that show. I have screen envy. Who's your favorite superhero? My 2-year-old is fond of Hawkeye, so just for today, he'll top my list. Has Downey ever contacted you for a sponsorship? No, and I'm incensed. There's no E in their Downey, so if they wouldn't mind a rebrand with an additional vowel, I'd meet them halfway. Can you tell us something about yourself that we may find surprising? I require at least 1 bath per day. Wow! We are so similar. Are you sure you are not me? There are only 4 celebrities that I would want to hang out and have a beer with, but only as characters they have played. You as Kirk, I know who I am, Lazarus, Neil Patrick Harris as Barney, Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, and Morgan Freeman as God. Which non-Hollywood celebrities would you most like to hang out with? I'd like to spend more time with Elon Musk. B. Andrew Luck. I got to meet him a few days ago. He seems cool, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Let's see. So many great new tennis players too. C. Anderson Cooper. First of all, I want to say that I love your Facebook page. I check it every day, and it always makes me smile. My question is, in the last few years, it seems like the media has increasingly identified you with the character of Tony Stark. Can you talk about what that's like, and how you hold on to your identity in the face of it? Let me try. The first Iron Man was essentially wrapping the character around a cooler version of me. As we've gone along, I'm starting to wonder who's playing who, and I'm glad there are so many talented new people in the Marvel lineup. Ultimately, I'm real, and he's not. It's kind of important for me to remember that. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.